Good evening. We are at Johnston Middle School, home of the Johnston Dragons swim team. And this is Dave Mabel on Central Iowa Sports Network here with Paul Yeager. Paul, it's a pleasure to have you here tonight.
Hey, good to be here, Dave.
This is our second swim meet, and it's good to have company.
I'm glad you're going to help me out. You're the veteran of this crew. Good to have you here.
I do know this crew a little bit. My son is a sophomore swimmer on this team.
Okay.
So I do know some of the Johnston kids.
And they all know you, it seems like. Everybody's been coming over to talk to you. I'm just going to, since we're on the fly already, you got to turn your mic up. I can't hear you very well. And I want to hear you because it's going to get loud in just a matter of minutes, Dave, because swimming is you sat in the pools before. It gets loud and it gets warm, and it's already warm. Therefore, it's probably going to get loud, I'm guessing, rather soon.
You know what? Especially for the parents who have younger kids and haven't entered the high school swim arena yet, and they're maybe at the Y or maybe the USA Swimming club level, and you go to those really, really long meets.
Aren't those like 6-day long meets?
They feel like
that, right?
Yeah. Let me just say, one of my favorite shirts was if my doctor tells me I have one day to live, I'm going to go to a YMCA swim meet because those meets last forever. And it's kind of true.
Because they go for days and days.
I will say that a high school swim meet, totally different. Action-packed, exciting, loud, vibrant, especially when you have a great rivalry like we've got here, Dowling and Johnston going head-to-head at an early season meet.
Well, Dowling just came out into the pool and just kind of did their circle area, and you could hear them cheer. Johnston will emerge. Both of these teams have warmed up. We've calmed the pool down a little bit. This will be the last time the pool is calm for quite a while, as we've got a number of fantastic races ahead. We do have some of the best swimmers in the state that are going to be participating. Ames is one of those teams that's considered the best in girls swimming. Not too bad in boys swimming either. They hold a lot of them, but if it's not Ames, it's usually Johnston that is right up there at the leaderboard at almost every category in swimming.
Absolutely. There's a lot of kids returning who swam at state last year. Grant Fuhr and Grant Lair, Scott Lair, Alex Overton. Listen, those kids didn't just swim at state, they scored points and were on the podium at state last year. Dowling, the same. Nick Chase, Ryan Gomer, Jerry Zhu, Nolan Larson, 6th in the 200 free. So both teams really have some strong swimmers returning that swam well last year. That being said, this is an early season meet. It's early December. I think Dowling, this is their second meet. Johnston is fourth, I believe. So there's still conditioning.
Right. Well, and some of these kids, if you look at a couple of names, like I was looking, Oliver Martin, the best time in the 50 freestyle from Iowa City West. That guy played football up until the week before Thanksgiving in the state championship game. So there are some guys that do play both. Yeah, not as many, but there are some. And that condition, you're like, well, I played football for months, or I ran cross country. It's different. And they have to abide by a different kind of conditioning when they dip into the pool. And conditioning in the pool, Dave, is something that starts early and it goes on and on and on.
It does go on and on and on. And, swimming is a low-impact sport. It's hard. It's muscularly tiring. It's cardiovascularly difficult. But it's low impact. So kids can do it really all year long. Running, it's good to take some breaks here and there. But swimming, you're right. It's you look at the college season, and it's pretty much both semesters. and their coaches have them swimming all summer long as well. So swimming is a very conditioning, important sport.
And we will gain some crowd here. We do have a couple of cameras to show you how the action looks tonight. So we'll have some fun. Dave, you did this last week. I have done a little bit of swimming for Iowa Public Television with the girls. I've not done a boys' meet before, so go easy on me here.
I will.
As I said, I can call a track meet, and this is very similar to track. There's lanes back and forth. The advantage I had with Iowa Public Television when we were doing taped highlights, and we were doing a couple of different cameras, and I'm not sitting in one spot. But usually you look to the center of the lane, and that is kind of what we'll look for tonight. We're going to start with the 200-yard medley relay. Will be the first race, and then it's the 200-yard freestyle, and then the individual medley. So we do have a number of races, as you get a look there now at the pool, as the timers have been briefed.
Yep.
They have gone through with the race official, and coaches have had their meetings. And what are they talking about in those meetings, Dave?
I don't know. The heats are all set already, so they know what kid is swimming which event, and that's a bit of a strategy for a coach. They'll move kids around from one event to another. As a parent of a swimmer, I really never know what my kid's swimming until I see him on the blocks. I'm like, oh. Noah
so you don't see the heat assignments that we have and the lane assignments?
Not as a parent, not when you're in the stands. And speaking of that, the Johnston kids are making their entrance now. We're going to have the Star Spangled Banner to kick things off, and I will remove my Iowa State hat for the Star Spangled Banner. But
what Iowa State? Is there something going on?
Well, there might be a little basketball game in Iowa City tonight, and I got to show my love for the Clones. I've got a son up there as well, so.
Well, before you take on swimming, you can, or before you take on basketball, you can have a little swimming here as we see the guys make their way around the pool. And there's always those traditions of, each sport has an entrance, a rally, a huddle, whatever it is to fire it up. You think this is similar to wrestling to me, where the guys come out, but the wrestling, because both of these athletes, they will go to corners and kind of squirrel themselves away to make sure that they are ready for the action. And we're now going to have our national anthem, and it's actually sung by the Johnston swimmers.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Enjoy.
Streaming on CISN.tv. At this time, we'd like to welcome all the swimmers, fans, and parents for attending tonight's swim meet. At this time, would everyone please rise for the national anthem performed by the Johnston Dragons and Swim Choir.
Our national anthem by the Johnston Swim Choir. So they'll take their places on the benches to our right, Dave, as we're here at Johnston Community Schools Summit Middle School, where the pool is at, not at the high school, but we're actually closer to where the new pool, or the new high school, is going to be, which will open in the fall of 2017.
Yeah, and they're pretty excited about that. We talked to Gary Ross, the athletic director, at the last meet, and sounds like it's going to be a beautiful high school, beautiful facility, and a brand new track and football field.
Yeah, and initially they were not going to move all the athletics outdoor fields. I think softball, baseball for now are going to stay at the current site, but football will move. Dar and I had a game there earlier this season, and it'll be different to be in a different environment in the CIML. But we're talking swimming here today, and as we mentioned, it'll be the 200-yard medley relay. First it'll be the junior varsity and then the varsity. So we're here, Dave, so we're going to show you the JV and the varsity.
Absolutely. JV at a swim meet, at a high school swim meet, the JV heat always goes first, and that's followed by the varsity heat. Sometimes there's multiple JV heats, like in the 50 free. Pretty much every kid will swim the 50 free, but in a relay, they will swim one JV heat and one varsity heat. And what we'll do, there's a lot of kids, and they kind of rifle through quickly. So we will read each swimmer as they are kind of going on their turn. So we'll rifle on through. The way the pool is set up, as you're looking at your screen, the lower lane is lane 1, and the upper lane is lane 8. So we've got 1 through 8. And starting in lane 2 is Jared Palmer for Johnston. Dowling's in 3. Johnston is in 4. Dowling in 5. Johnston in 6. Dowling 7. Johnston 8. So Jared Palmer's in lane 2. Cole Wiley is in lane 3 for the Maroons. Grayson Haggett for Johnston in lane 4. Zach Wrinkle in 5 for Dowling. Michael Fredrickson in 6 for Johnston. Matthew Carmody, Dowling in 7. Max Hodap for Johnston in 8 as they finish the first leg, which is the backstroke. Next will be we'll be watching the breaststroke.
And into the pool first was Johnston, Aaron Brown. He'll be swimming in lane 4. Lane 5, Jacob McMillan. For Johnston, it's Dieter Zinzamania. Nate Green for Dowling in lane 7. Lane 8, Braden Hewen. Back in lane 2 is Ben Webster. And for Johnston and for Dowling, it's Donovan Shelvbarad.
Well done. And here they're finishing up. It looks like lane 5, Dowling leads. Lane 4 and 5 are always the fastest lanes.
It was actually Johnson. Samuel Schmitz got in. He's a good almost 2 lengths ahead on this one. He already touches the far wall and then makes his way back.
And so he's in lane 4, right?
Yes.
And so Drew Story's in lane 2, Zach Fry's in lane 3, Samuel Schmitz again in lane 4, Leo Duffy's in 5, Noah James in 6, Thomas Bussey in 7, and Dawson Craig in 8. As they go into the last leg, which is the freestyle.
Grant Nelson's already taken a lead for Johnston. He is way ahead of the pack here, and Nelson will finish first for Johnston. Grant Nelson, and it looks like it's going to be lane number 2 second, which was James Hansen. And then lane 6 Johnston's, that's Alex Weedy. He was in lane 6. Also lane 7, Bryce Green for Dowling. Lane 8, Kyle Gobin for Johnston. James Hansen swimming for Johnston in lane 2, and Liam Sweeney for Dowling in lane number 3 as we finish the JV and we get ready for the varsity.
And as we call these races, we are going by sight and by what's on the scoreboard, and that is not official until we're handed a white piece of paper with the names and the results on it.
And there could be, and part of that being, Dave, is there could be a disqualification we don't see or we don't know about.
Yep.
Somebody may have left early, and that's let's get you lane 2, Johnston. Dowling's in 3, Johnston in 4, Dowling in 5. Johnston in lane 6, and Dowling is in lane 7. This is the 200 medley relay, the first varsity race of the night.
And that's Cole Phillips in lane 2 for Johnston doing the backstroke. Gage Agnew for Dowling in 3. Grant Lair, one of the state swimmers, in 4. Nick Chase in 5. He swam at state. And Vasil Chaprazov in 6 for Johnston, and John Culver swims for Dowling in lane 7.
Early on, it's lane 4 and 5, pretty much even, Johnston and Dowling, as Scott Lair takes over for Johnston in lane 4, Jerry Zhu for Dowling in 5, Mason Rubin in 6, Luke Mohan for Dowling in lane 7. For lane 2, it's Ethan Paul for Johnston and Camden Arnold, lane 3 for Dowling. And again, very even between lane 4, your two varsity swimmers. That's Camden Arnold and Scott Lair. Lair for Johnston. I think Lair might have gotten there first, and we're in now to the third stroke.
Looks like Lair was about 1/10 of a second ahead when he touched at the turn.
So early on, it's Jackson Castor for Johnston against Max Frost of Tom Nesbitt for Dowling. And now we're starting to see just a little bit of separation by Dowling, and then all of a sudden Johnson closes the gap. Castor makes a great move, and into the end, it's going to be Ryan Gomer and Jake Dielman into the pool first as we go to the free. And we're now about to go to the back 50, and it's going to be a great race between Dielman and Gomer. Dielman is in lane 4 for Johnson. He has the lead by about...
I think that's Dowling.
That is Dowling. That is Gomer first.
Dowling, and he touches first.
I'm looking at 5. You're right. Thank you.
He swam a 22.87 in that leg of the race, and that is very fast. That puts you at the state meet.
Ryan Gomer was the anchor swimmer for Dowling. Let's give the names again. Nick Chase, Jerry Zhu, Tom Nesbitt, and Ryan Gomer for Dowling Catholic in lane 5. As of now, they have the... we haven't seen the final for them, for Dowling, go up there. We see Johnston second place. They're confirming that second time. Johnston swimmers, Grant Lair, Scott Lair, Jackson Castor, and then Jake Dielman for Johnston is there. As you look at the times between 2 and 3, Dowling kind of alternate. Dowling, Johnson, Dowling, Johnston. Kind of an even start here.
Yeah, and that's good for Dowling on the points right there. To get first and third, they're going to be heavy on the points in that race. And looks
we'll
like
have to see.
Dowling 142.29 was the winning time, and Johnston in second 142.87. So a little over a half second difference between first and second there. And third place 146.57. So the front two really pulled away.
Absolutely, and it was a great race there down the stretch. And we do have the final now for that. Dowling Catholic is first the time of 142.29, Johnson 142.87. So only 0.6 separate there. As we're ready for the JV 200-yard freestyle. So you'll watch that.
This pool is 25 yards long, so to go one length and back is 50 yards. So they'll do 4 laps of this pool to make the 200-yard. Lane 1 here, we've got Dowling, and in every single race, Dowling has the odd lanes and Johnston has the even lanes. So in lane 1, we've got Bradley Meyer. Lane 2, Johnston is Joel Woodsmall. Michael Schulte for Dowling's in 3. My son, Noah Mabel, is in 4, and like I said, I don't always know when he's swimming, and he's in the pool right now.
Do you want to watch or talk about him first?
Oh, I love to talk about him. He'll love that.
Noah's a sophomore at Johnston.
Yep.
And he is in lane number 4.
He's in lane 4, which means
he's running about second place right now.
Yeah, that's
no, I'm sorry, third,
2, 3, fourth.
Never mind.
Let's not give him too much credit.
All right, so touching first, I think, was here in lane 2, and I think that was Joel Woodsmall. I'm sorry, Bradley Meyer for Dowling.
Yep.
Is in lane.
Going on up the pool, we've got John Klingen for Dowling in lane 5, and Dieter Zanzamina for Johnston in 6, and Will Melcher for Dowling in 7.
And touching first is Michael Schulte for Dowling. He had no time coming into this meet. This is his first swim of the season in a timed competition.
In a 200 anyway.
At least in this race, yeah.
Yep.
And a lot of guys will switch races. Coaches trying to figure out as they proceed, where am I going to score the most points? How do I qualify the most for state, and then how do I score the most points?
Exactly.
Now, once in a while, you'll get to see the coaches on the far sideline make. Touching first is
Lane 3, Michael
Schulte. Still waiting on that Mabel kid. He's going to hit and touch fourth. But it was all three swimmers pretty close in lane 7. Will Melcher in that freestyle.
Schulte. They've got no time for Schulte. We're going to have to wait for the time, but if we were able to see the scoreboard.
Well, Melcher, they have a time. Yeah,
here it comes.
33.6 or 2:03.42. So this is the 200 freestyle coming up here in just a moment as we look at some of the best times in the state in the 200 freestyle. Grant Lair has the best time of any swimmer. He has a 1:51.23. That's best in the state. Alex Overton and then Jackson Castor. So you'll see a couple of the top swimmers in the state at this meet. And we're going to do...
this actually is that's kind of a stacked race right here in this 200.
Yeah, you've got Scott Lair. He'll be in lane 4. Michael Schmitz in lane 6. And then Grant Nelson in lane 2, all for Johnston. And for Dowling, it's Cade Johnson in 3, Drew Westerkamp in 5, and Carter Shimon.
And both Drew Westerkamp and Cade Johnson for Dowling were state swimmers, and they both swam the 200 free. So this is their event. Scott Lair, he swam the 500 free at state for Johnston, and this could be a good. Cade Johnson, Scott Lair, Drew Westerkamp, all boom, 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 right? Lane 3, 4, 5. So it'll be a tight race.
Yeah, we've only got 6 swimmers in that, so we'll watch the middle. Scott Lair, he will step in. He's already swam once today. Swam the last race just a moment ago in the 200-yard medley. That was only down and back.
That was short race compared to the 200.
Compared to the 200. And if you have a slow, you hope you move it along as best you can. But let's give you the lane assignments again. Grant Nelson will be in lane 2 for Johnson. Cade Johnson for Dowling is in lane 3. Scott Lair, the swimmer to watch, in lane 4. Drew Westerkamp in lane 5 for the Maroons. Michael Schmitz in lane 6 for the Dragons, and Carter Shimon in lane 7. Again, watch Scott Lair in lane 4. All of a sudden, the pace slowed down a little bit. We've been pretty hectic early on, and now we just kind of tap the brakes. So
yeah, I think there's a problem with the touch pads.
The timers.
They're trying to get the official times for the last race.
You run the touch pads in the water, but then you also have the backup stopwatch.
Now, on camera, we're kind of excited. We've got some students from Johnston who are on staff for the Black and White, I believe is a student newspaper at Johnston. And on camera right now, we've got Haley Sherman. And she enjoys doing camera. She does some graphic work for the newspaper.
Scott Lair makes the turn and takes a commanding lead here early on in this race, and also in lane 3 on the nearer side of that, Cade Johnson looked to be in second when they made the turn, and we're already coming back down, and Lair is starting to pull away in this race. He had a pretty good early on as he makes the turn at about 51 seconds, so another lap at first lap was 26.89. Second one then equals out to a 51.29. Lair has a 1:51.13 time, best in the state, and Lair is running away with this one.
Yeah, he really is. He looks great. He's
the race is really for second, Dave. If you look in lane 3, it looks like Cade Johnson coming up in 4. Looks like Drew Westerkamp in lane 5. Westerkamp, and then coming in is Michael Schmitz, Carter Shimon, and the last to turn will be Grant Nelson in here. And Lair, Dave, is already all the way down to the other end, makes the turn into the final 25.
Yeah, we're going to watch that race for second, third, fourth pretty closely. Those are important points. This is scored a lot like a track meet or a cross-country meet, where really every point matters. And Dowling's swooping up second and third place.
Cade Johnson and Drew Westerkamp go 2-3, and Lair's looking at his time, and he improves upon his season best. He unofficially 1:48.03, and he had a 1:51, so he shaves almost 2.5 seconds off of his time.
That's cooking for December.
That's good move, and you like to get that in. It looks like Cade Johnson is unofficially second, Drew Westerkamp third. In lane 7, Carter Shimon, then Michael Schmitz, and Grant Nelson.
And Dowling just swept up some very important points there. Second, third, and fourth are going to be some good numbers for the Dowling scorecard. We'll get the score of the meet at the break. After the 50 free, we'll get the update on score. It's almost rocket science to keep track of a swim meet. You pretty much have to do that exclusively as you are watching.
As you focus, and we already have the finals. Let's give you here now. This is the 200 individual medley JV race. Thomas Bussey in 1, Noah James in 2, Stephen Renzi in 3, Dawson Craig in 4, Hank Wersch in 5, Will Ryer is in lane 6, and they alternate Dowling Johnston. So watch the middle. That would be Dawson Craig for Johnson. He has a time of 2:35. What's the first stroke here, Dave?
Fly, which is good to get out of the way. That's certainly a tough stroke to swim, and it's an even tougher stroke to swim well. And they flip from the fly into the backstroke, and they get a little breathing break after the fly, and they'll do the breaststroke and then freestyle.
And work a different set of muscles.
Yep.
But that's the fun part of swimming. In that last race, as we continue on, let's give you a little update on how we're doing. This is the JV 200 IM. Pretty even race, 5 and 4. Early lead looks to be Hank Wersch from Dowling, Dawson Craig in lane 4.
Boy,
touching third would be in lane 3. That's Stephen Renzi.
Looks like...
and then Noah James here in 2. Up above, Will Ryer, and then Thomas Bussey touch it. In that last race, Dave, in the 200-yard freestyle, tell you what, it's kind of nice being right here next to the official stats. I can get used to this. Scott Lair with a time of 1:51 is what he came in with. Finished the 1:48, scores 6 points for the Dragons. Cade Johnson was second by almost 3 seconds. Then it got a little closer. Drew Westerkamp for Dowling, Carter Shimon. So really, the Maroons pick up 9 points, even though they went 2-3-4, and the Dragons only pick up 7 points. Lair gets 6, and then Michael Schmitz gets a 1. So you talk about mopping up, Dave. That's what you got to do.
Well, and it matters. We were just handed the score through that race, and on the varsity side, Dowling leads 19-11. So they got points there, and they got points in that relay that added up quickly. So Dowling leads 19-11.
Hank Wersch touches first for the Maroons. And then it was also Stephen Renzi. So Dowling goes 1-2 in that race on the JV side. Coming up here, we'll have the varsity 200 individual medley, as all the swimmers have now finished. And they're going to move them along. All right, here we go. Lane assignments in the 6th event. The third varsity one, the men's 200 individual medley. In lane 2 is Ethan Paul. Nolan Larson in 3, Grant Lair in 4, John Culver in 5, Jack Greening in 6, Ben Nelson in 7. Lair has a pretty good time of 2:01.81. And I've been told, watch the Culver kid. He just turned 14 as a freshman. He does not look like a freshman already. So, and he is the son of former Governor Chet Culver, who I did happen to see walk in. So,
I missed him.
hard to believe that John is already in high school. I remember when he was much younger, but time ticks on. Good start here on the fly.
Much younger, and maybe he lived on Grand.
That's one of the last times I'd seen him. Early on, it is lane 3. Nolan Larson touches first. Second would be Grant Lair. And then it's kind of up for grabs in third as we flip over to the backstroke. Still in lane 3 is Nolan Larson. He had no time coming into this one, at least registered, for Dowling. He makes the turn. And we're starting to see a little bit Grant Lair start to close that gap. He is in lane 4 in the middle of your screen. Touching first is Nolan Larson as we now move on to the next stroke.
And Grant Lair is a backstroker. He swam the backstroke at state meet, and Nolan Larson swam the fly at the state meet. So it makes sense that Larson took an early lead during the fly and that Grant closed the gap during the backstroke.
Some guys have much stronger strokes here as we are in the breaststroke now. And still, it is Larson, Nolan Larson. He is now really making some distance between he and Grant Lair. And as he goes into the free, he is just sprinting away with this. And it's going to take a miracle swim from Grant Lair to close that gap. Or in lane 5, John Culver is now swimming third. Look at this. Here comes Nolan Larson, Dave.
That's a great swim he's having right now, and we'll keep an eye on his time as he touches.
It's going to be Nolan Larson first, and then Grant Lair will be second. Looks like John Culver is going to get third in lane 5.
And Larson swam a 1:57.33, and Lair swam 2:02.16 for first and second.
And that is how Nolan Larson
and I'm not
Grant Lair. Nolan Larson's, they're giving his time of 1:57.33 unofficially, which would be better than the best time coming into the meet. 1:57 in the 2.
And they've got, they've got John Culver at 6th place, 2:31. So I'm sure that's going to have to be corrected. That we saw him come in third. Yep, there it is, third at 2:09.56. So some good times by these guys. It's amazing what adrenaline can do, right?
Right, and Grant Lair at a time of 2:01.89 coming into this.
And just swam at 2:02.
Yeah. All right, so I'm only gonna keep the varsity sheets. Please don't be mad at me. I know you're getting a chance. Normally we wouldn't show you the JV here on CISN.TV. Swimming tonight, basketball tomorrow.
Absolutely.
We had basketball last week. We got wrestling coming up. As we give you the finals here from the 200-yard individual medley. Noah Larson from Dowling Catholic had a 1:57.33. Grant Lair for Johnston was second at 2:02, so pretty big gap there. John Culver third, Ben Nelson fourth, Jack Gruning fifth, and then Ethan Paul was in sixth.
Yep.
We're on now to the 50-yard freestyle JV, and we will have a couple of heats here. We will have 3 heats of this race.
Yep. And from bottom to top, lane 1 for Dowling, Liam Sweeney, Neil Pack for Johnston in 2, Michael Ode in 3, Cameron DeRoos in 4, Joe Proft in 5, Ogbi Erloden in 6, Paul Johnson in 7, and Adam Pottebaum in 8 for Johnston.
Down and back, and you're done.
And looks like Dowling went 1, 2, 3, 4 in that race. 27:75, so a good time. That'll be generally the slower of the JV heats. Next up is the second JV heat of 3. And from bottom to top is Sam Hall in lane 1, Tyler Overton, a Johnston swimmer, in 2, Brian Spellman in 3, Max Hodap in 4, Joe Ryan for Dowling in 5, Joel Woodsmall in 6, Bryce Green in 7, and Bryce Palmer in lane 8 for Johnston. Again, odd lanes are Johnston and even lanes. Odd lanes are Dowling, even lanes are Johnston.
Wouldn't matter what color their Speedos were, you couldn't tell when they're in the water, but they're both in black.
Right.
So it's a good thing that we have lane assignments.
It is a great thing. It's also a great thing to have swim caps that are colored and have their names
in it. That always helps.
I shoot these as well. I'm a still photographer, and boy, I love when the kids have their name on their swim cap. Some of them don't, but I can't always tell who I'm shooting. And that's lane 2, swam a good race, and that was Overton, Tyler Overton, whose big brother swims and is a good swimmer. Tyler swam at 27:03, and Max Hodap for Johnston up in lane 4 swam at 29:09, and then a Dowling Spellman, Brian Spellman in lane 3 swam at 29:54.
And now it's on to the varsity race.
Not yet. That's
no, that was 3 already.
Was that?
Oh, that was 2. I'm slow. I was counting that was 3. I'm getting you excited, Dave.
No, yes.
I flipped it over.
Will Melcher is going to be swimming in lane 1 for Dowling. That's the bottom of your screen. Ben Webster in 2, Zach Robinson in 3, Michael Friedrichsen in 4, Will Ode in 5, Aaron Brown in 6, Zach Fry in 7, and Alex Weed in 8. As they line up, the coach, the Dowling head coach, Nick Spike, will be joining us, and turn the mic over to you and Nick to have a little chat during the break after the 53.
And you're going to lobby the Johnston coach to get more swim time for your son?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yep,
but that's the thing about swimming is it's your results.
It is.
You really can control a lot of your own destiny. That's the, again, I go back to wrestling. It's that one-on-one. That isn't the team sport aspect of it. As we see a pretty good finish, it looks like it's going to go right in the middle, 4-3. So that's Michael Fredrickson and then Zach Robinson.
Wow, 24:83 and 25:08 were first and second. And third was Aaron Brown in 25:53.
And we're going to move on now to the varsity in the 50 freestyle. And the best time in the state is held by Oliver Martin from Iowa City West at a 21.19. Grant Fuhr has the second best time at 21.23. And he is swimming for Johnston, but just not in this race today.
He is.
The lane assignments rather quickly. Josh Mullen for Johnston. In 2, Ryan Gomer. In 3, Jake Dielman. In 4, Joseph Dorman, Max Vanderpool, and Camden Arnold. Watch lane 4. That's Jake Dielman. Gomer in 3, Dorman in 5. Good start there by Dielman. He really got off the board well. This is the sprint, and it's hard to kind of tell. We'll do our best. And this is going to be anybody's race.
Way up top,
I think coming in lane 3, it's going to be Ryan Gomer from Dowling Catholic. Looked like he touched first.
Yep.
Unofficially, he did. Max Vanderpool from in second, just 0.2 of a second behind. Joseph Dorman was third. Jake Dielman fourth. Josh Mullen fifth. Camden Arnold sixth. And that time, 23:24 unofficially.
good time.
That's a very good time.
It's a solid time.
It's a solid time.
State
not a good
winning time. If you're in state, you'd be sad with the 23 anything.
You wouldn't be swimming in the finals.
You would not be swimming in the finals
With a 23. You'd have to have 22 under. And you know that number's only going to go down as the season goes on.
Only going to go down, for sure. And it's December.
Right. So, we still got to get through the holidays and the new year. So.
Yep. The kids are going on break. Dowling coach will be heading over. And
I'm going to give you a couple of things before we get into that.
Yep, we want to click on
that's the JV.
Official results. We've got
So this is the 50 free. Ryan Gallmer with the time of 23:24. Max Vanderpool for Johnston was second. He was 3.5 tenths behind. Joe Dorman for Dowling. So Dowling goes 1-3-6 in this. Jake Dealman for Johnston is fourth. Real close in his swim time. Josh Mullen was fifth, and Camden Arnold is sixth. So Gallmer, Vanderpool, Dorman, Dealman, Mullen, Arnold. So Dowling goes 1-3-6 in this race, and that is how they finish. So, awesome. Dave, I think you're going to slip out for just a moment, or am I slipping out?
You're going to slip out, have a chat with
well, he's coming in.
Nicholas Spike. Yep, he's going to take my headphones.
Okay, I got you.
And we're going to go to a break, and when we come back, we'll be with Nick Spike, head coach of the Dowling Maroons, who I wanted to wait for the score before going to break.
Well, tease them.
Okay,
when they come back after the break.
Absolutely.
After the break.
We'll be right back.
Why do I look for the seal? It's about trust. Whether I'm buying a car, hiring a contractor, finding a tax preparer, or an honest mechanic, the Better Business Bureau seal means this business meets high standards. When I see the seal, I know I'll get what I pay for. No more taking chances and no more worries. And I feel good about supporting local businesses. My life is so much easier knowing I can always trust BBB accredited businesses. It pays to look for the seal. See for yourself at bbb.org/Iowa.
At Mid-American Energy, part of putting power in your hands is helping to keep families safe. That's why Mid-American provides free educational safety programs to schools, asks you to call 811 before you dig, have annual furnace inspections, and be aware of hazards at home. Mid-American Energy safely delivers electricity and natural gas to us in good times and stormy ones. That's Mid-American Energy.
Tonight, Central Iowa Sports Network presents High School Swimming, live from Summit Middle School in Johnston.
Welcome back here on CISN TV. Paul Yeager alongside Nick Spike, the head swim coach for Dowling Catholic, and it's even 62 up. What'd you like in those first few races, Coach?
We had some guys get after it. We've been really harping the boys on their turns and their underwaters, and it was good to see them attack their turns and underwaters in that first half of the meet. Pretty happy with some of those swims. A lot of room for improvement still, but can't complain.
Let's talk about that race that just finished. Ryan Gallmer comes out there, 23:24, wins the race by 3/10, so that's an eternity in the 50.
Yeah, that's a pretty good swim. He's a guy that works really hard, and it's fun because wins that race by 3/10, and there's still areas that we know he can improve on, and he knows he can improve on. So it's fun to know that there's still potential to grow.
You had other guys. Nolan Larson, first in the 200 IM, 157. Now that was just, may I say, an arse kicking. I mean, he was really out there. That was a dominant performance. Let's say that. How about that?
That was a pretty impressive swim. We were shooting for something under 2. I knew he was going to get after it just because he was pretty fired up. 157.3 was a very nice swim. So we're pleased there, and we know that he can still drop time on that.
In the 200 free, Scott Lair was first for Johnston, but then you go 2-3-4. How important is it to go 2-3-4 or 2-3-5 if you don't get that top spot?
Yeah, that's huge. We knew Lair was going to take it out. That's what he does, and he's real good at that. It was a great swim out of him. Our boys swimming exactly how we wanted them to swim it. Our goal was for Cade to be right at 151, 152, and he went 151. Our goal for Drew was 151, 152. He went 152. And Carter, we were hoping for 153, 154, and he went 154. So we're real pleased with that spread as well.
You talk about goals for guys. How do you know where they're going? I mean, that's a regular thing that you get in practice.
Yeah, so we spend a lot of time in practice doing interval training, right? So we're working hard, and every set is on a certain amount of time, certain amount of seconds. And so we have goals as far as what they should be holding throughout that set. That really helps us gauge where they should be when we race. And one thing we'd spend a lot of time with is goals. I think especially if they prepare mentally, they're going to be far more capable of reaching those goals and exceeding those goals. Because swimming is a bit of a mind game.
It's between the ears a lot, isn't it?
No kidding. Yeah.
You got to think of how is it that you prepare guys to know, all right, the guy to my left I can take him, but the guy to my right, how do you talk to a kid, to a 14, 15, 16-year-old kid to shield some of that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think we take a unique approach to that with telling the boys that they're far more capable of what they think they are, and that their mind is going to be the first thing that talks them out of anything. So if they think the guy in the lane next to him, oh, he's way faster than me, he already lost the race right there.
Sure.
Right? So you got to go into it optimistic. Yeah, I got to go into it focused. You got to be ready to attack and make your move, right? If he takes it out first, you're not out of the race, right? So there's a lot of strategy into that.
All right, in the first race of the night was the 200 medley relay. You take first in that. Nick Chase, Jerry Zhu, Tom Nesbitt, Ryan Gomer. Gomer we've already kind of talked about with him, but how important are relays? I mean, in track, they're everything. That's where a lot of points. Do you have the same approach when it comes to swimming?
We do. Yep. We definitely like to get our fast guys swimming together. But at the same time, it's kind of fun, too, to kind of split the fast guys. That's kind of the approach we take during our season. We don't really necessarily feel like loading a relay is something that we have to do. The whole time, it's kind of fun to see the fast guys spread themselves out with the other guys that aren't necessarily as fast, or, and hold them to a higher standard, get them training even harder. But relays are huge, and they really bring the boys together, right? There's nothing cooler than seeing 4 guys get out of the pool and give them high fives and just be satisfied with it.
Let's talk last thing here, Coach, before the break gets over. Tomorrow morning, or did you have a workout this morning with the kids?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
What time is it on a meet day? Do you gather later?
No.
Still the regular.
We still have the same practice. We lifted yesterday, had a big swim yesterday, and had a big swim this morning. Got in a good amount of yards before the meet as well as a team. I mean, it's not about swimming fast right now, right? You want to swim fast in February, and if you can swim fast while you're tired, when you come February, when you get a little rest, it's a beautiful thing.
So it's none of this. It's a meet day. I only have to swim 150 or 1-200. You got to work hard in the morning just as well as at night.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, Coach. Thank you so very much. We'll let you go. We'll take a break here on CISN TV. Good luck the second half. We'll see 60 part 2, I should say. It's not really a half because we do this in thirds.
Part 2.
Part 2. Thanks, Coach. We'll be back here on CISN.
Thank you.
I look for the seal? It's about trust. Whether I'm buying a car, hiring a contractor, finding a tax preparer, or an honest mechanic. The Better Business Bureau seal means this business meets high standards. When I see the seal, I know I'll get what I pay for. No more taking chances and no more worries. And I feel good about supporting local businesses. My life is so much easier knowing I can always trust BBB accredited businesses. It pays to look for the seal. See for yourself at bbb.org/Iowa.
Tonight, Central Iowa Sports Network presents High School Swimming, live from Summit Middle School in Johnston.
Welcome back to Summit Middle School in Johnston, where the Johnston Dragons are hosting the Dowling Catholic Maroons for men's swimming. And we're here with Paul Yeager and Dave Mabel on Central Iowa Sports Network. Paul, pleasure to have you here.
Good to be here. How's this going for you? I had to send a little tweet out through, if you want to send a tweet out. We're kind of just feeling our way through here on swimming. We've CISN, we've kind of started to expand a little bit. We started just with football, then we kind of brought a little basketball. Now we've added swimming, and we'll do some wrestling.
Yep, we're excited about that.
Did some audio for softball every once in a while right here at Johnston. And
on a rainy day.
On a rainy day.
An infamously rainy day.
Man.
You posted a little video during a rain delay that went Des Moines-wise viral. I think it got 4,000 or 5,000 views. It was great. It was Johnston and Ankeny.
And it rained. And I was really hoping that it was going to be those two in the finals, because I had all these videos of Johnston and I wanted to play them in our broadcast on Iowa Public Television, but it didn't quite work out that way. It ended up being Johnston, and oh my goodness, I can't believe I've actually forgotten who was in the finals. But it was the two teams having a dance-off. It rained to beat cats and dogs.
Right.
I mean, saying cats and dogs makes it seem like it was a little shower. It was dredge of water, deluge.
Deluge.
It was like jumping into the pool. Jumping into the pool is drier than what it was that day. So, but we have the girls dancing in a dance-off, and that's, I think, buried somewhere on our website that you can watch.
So. Well, it's on our Facebook page for sure.
It is.
But it definitely went viral.
Well, we have 4 in the books. We're tied at 62. You talk about the middle, talking with Coach there. We're talking with the Dowling coach, Nick. Spike. Coach Spike was saying, I stole a line from you. I said, kind of got to pick up those middle points. And he says, absolutely. That's where you could make a meet. And you look at, these two teams are very even, because they were tied 39-23 after the first, and then 39-23 for a total of 62 points even. So kind of funny how that works.
Yeah, it is kind of funny how that works. What's that?
Well, I'm just looking at the score. Those don't really add up to 62.
Total 62,
well, but
39.
The way they have it listed, because it should be.
Well,
see what I'm saying?
Paul and I are looking at.
We're arguing about score sheets. I'm going to.
Paul and I are looking at this, trying to figure out the score
so far
as we go back to the meet.
Dowling won in the 200-yard medley relay, and then Johnston won. Scott Lair first place in the 200 free. Then in the 200 IM, it was Nolan Larson for Dowling, and then Ryan Gallmer for the Maroons in the 50 free. And we are now going to move on to the JV side of things. We're going to do the 100 butterfly, and Dave will give you a rundown of our lanes.
Yep. Again, Dowling are in odd-numbered lanes and Johnston in even. And here at the bottom of your screen, when it pans out to the pool, will be Leo Duffy in lane 1, closest to the bottom of the screen, closest to the viewer. Dawson Craig in 2, Stefan Renz in 3, Joe Hoffman in 4, Max Frost in 5, Noah Coleman in 6, and Cole Wiley in 7. I mentioned earlier I'm a still photographer, and this is one of my favorite races.
Oh, yeah.
I'll go to the end of the pool, and after break, the pool is like glass. And I love the reflection of the swimmers as they come out of the water the first time, and you can see just about as good a reflection of them on the surface of the water as you get of them. So
It's
one of
a
our favorite races.
Probably the best photo opportunity at a swim meet is the butterfly because of how far they come out of the water, and then throw in the stillness side of it. Dave,
Yep.
you're right. Coming up in the varsity race here, we'll have Trent Wignall, Jackson Castor, Drew Westerkamp, Jack Gruning, and Matthew Renzi. The best time of the qualifiers is Jackson Castor at 57.
Looks like lane 5 finishing first, and that's Max Frost
for Dowling.
For Dowling, and Dowling takes second. Stefan Renzi, let's see, a 59.09 for junior varsity in the butterfly, won that race, and that's a quick time. That's a really good time for him. If that stands 59.09. Coming in, the fastest heat we had, or fastest qualifier, was a 104. So we had 4 swimmers swim under a 104. And 1, 2, 3 from Dowling, Max Frost, Stefan Renzi, and Cole Wiley finished 1, 2, 3 for Dowling. And Joe Hoffman was 4th for Johnston with a 103 as we line up for the varsity.
Trent Wignall in 2, Jackson Castor for Johnson in 4 in the middle, Drew Westerkamp for Dowling in 5, Jack Gruning in 6, Matthew Renzi for the Maroons in lane 7, as we'll go down and back for the 100-yard butterfly. And one of the best times, Grant Fuhr for the Dragons at 52. He is not swimming in this, but Castor is second best on the team at a 59.07. As making the first turn in lane 5, Drew Westerkamp for the Maroons gets there first.
Yep.
And getting there second. Jackson Castor would be second if I had to. The eye matches up with the board. Thank you, Dave. And again, it is Westerkamp for the Maroons in lane 5. In 4, it is Jackson Castor. It's really a 1-2 race. Castor still staying close in this one, but not enough. It's going to be Drew Westerkamp will finish first with a time of 55.06. Second place, Jackson Castor in 4, 55.42. Third is Matthew Renzi. He improves his time by a couple of seconds. And then Tom Nesbitt in 4th, Trent Wignall, and then Jack Gruning in 6. So that's a look at how they finished. We'll have the official results here in a minute. That's a 100 butterfly. And Dave is making friends around here as we get ready for the 100 free.
Showing off our work here. We've got 3 heats for junior varsity. And let's see, this is heavy Dowling. There's 4 Dowling kids in this heat, and 2 Johnston. So this will be a little different. In lane 1 is Paul Johnson. Lane 2, Tyler Overton for Johnston. Lane 3, Will Ode for Dowling. Lane 4 is Luke Mullen for Johnston. And then 5 is Michael Ode, and Nate Green is in 7. Both those are Dowling kids.
Before we get
for the 100-yard freestyle.
Before we get started, the official results from the 100 butterfly that just wrapped up. Drew Westerkamp, his time 55.06 did match what was up on the board. Castor was second with a time of 55.42. Jackson Castor for the Dragons. Matt Renzi and Tom Nesbitt go 3-4 for the Maroons, and then Trent Wignall and Jack Gruning in lane 5 and 6 with a time of 58.90 and 58.93. So really only 3 seconds separates those, but the Maroons win another 11 points, taking first, third, and fourth.
And as I watch this, it looks like there were some scratches. There's no Johnston kids in this race. It's all Dowling, lane 1, 3, 5, and 7. That's Paul Johnson in 1, Will Odie in 3, Michael Odie in 5, and Nate Green in 7. Not sure where Luke Mullen or Tyler Overton were. The coach might have moved them to maybe some relays or some such some such thing.
A lot of moving parts.
There's a lot of
in
moving parts in the
meet,
swimming.
Dave.
Yep, for sure.
He's Dave Mabel. I'm Paul Yeager. This is live swimming on CISN. If you're watching this on the replay, glad to have you here. If you're watching us live, glad you're here as well on the Central Iowa Sports Network.
And it looks like Dowling is going to take 1, 2, 3, and 4 in this race. Will Odie, 58-42 wins it. That's a great heat. That kid won't be JV for long, I don't think, with a time like that.
2 more to go. And then in that, we'll have that varsity swim.
Let's see if we go lane 1, Bryce Green for Dowling, Noah James in 2, Brian Spellman in 3, Will Ryer in 4, in 5 is Joe Ryan, Grayson Haggett in 6, and Sam Hall is swimming in lane 7 for the 100-yard freestyle junior varsity. Looks like 6 might be a scratch. We mentioned the Johnston or the Dowling coach Nicholas Spike. Talked to him. Mark Crouch is his assistant, and for Johnston, Sherry Walling is the head coach. She coaches the boys and girls team at Johnston. Kristen Merkel is her JV assistant coach, JV head coach. Sherry's assistant, and then Allison Jones is the assistant coach and is new here. We'll be talking to her at the next break after the 200 freestyle relay. So we'll get to know Allison Jones. She's a teacher, I believe, at Urbandale. Now,
and I neglected in my interview to ask anything about the coach of where he was from. We just started talking strategy. Forgive me.
No worries there. Well, I think Nicholas Spike's been around for a bit, but Allison's new. She's new to the Urbandale High School. And as these kids finish up, looks like lane 2 and 3 fighting for the victory. Looks like lane 3 is going to take it. And that is Brian Spellman for Dowling, and that was a 106.66. And Johnston's Spencer Pack. It looks like there was some switching. That he was not on our sheet for the 100 free. So Spencer Pack, lane 2, was second. Luke Mullen was third for Johnston at the 109. Sam Hall for Dowling in lane 7 took 4th. And Bryce Green took 5th in lane 1, and Joe Ryan in lane 6 took 6th. In lane 5 took 6th, 127. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to look at the scoreboard when they start, because
I'm thinking
on the board is different than
they've
on
moved.
paper.
They've moved some of those, which is fine.
Looks like Zach Fry in lane 1 for Dowling, Noah James in 2 for Johnston, Hank Warish for Dowling in 3, Will Rare in 4, Michael Schulte in 5, Grayson Haggett in 6, and Zach Robinson in 7 for Dowling. Well, I was talking a little bit earlier about the Urbandale connection. 4 schools swim at Johnston. Urbandale, Johnston, Dallas Center Grimes, and Des Moines Christian all have swimmers that come to this pool and swim under Coach Walling. And
it's a good program to be a part of.
It's a great program. Runners-up at the girls' state meet this year, and boys last year were 3rd, I believe. 5th. I was close, 5th. We finished 5th at the state meet last year. So, yep, great tradition here. And looks like Hank Warish from Dowling won that race in 53.8. Second place, Michael Schulte for Dowling in 56.48. Third place, Zach Robinson, another Dowling kid, in 56.75.
All right, let's move to the varsity here, Dave. This is the 100 free in Max Vanderpool in lane 2, Nolan Larson for the Maroons in 3, Jake Dielman for Johnston in 4, Nick Chase for the Maroons in 5, Johnston's Ryan Warwick in 6, John Culver on the far side in lane 7. Culver has a very good time of 52.1, the best that the Maroons have. Grant Fuhr, the best for the Dragons, but is not swimming in this race so far. We get off the bat, and good start here, even up. As we all make the turn, and it's pretty even so far, but where we're watching is Dielman, Chase, and Larson in 4, 5, and actually early on in the lead, it's Nolan Larson for the Maroons. He's going to make the turn first, and then it's you guess anybody for everybody else. It looked like Max Vanderpool and maybe Ryan Warwick were in there to touch second, or who touched second. But again, it's Larson in 3. Nolan Larson here on the near side. He is swimming away with it. He is going to win.
Looks like
Nolan Larson, good finish. In second is going to be Nick Chase.
Another Dowling kid.
So Dowling goes 1-2 in that race. Culver third, so they go 1-2-3. A lot of points. That's where you can make some separation there.
For sure, that's a lot of points. That's
4-8.
I would say as a coach, you don't want to see that if you're wearing purple and gold right now. But the Maroons, that's a great race right there. 1, 2, 3. Ryan Warwick in 4th for Johnston. Jake Dielman in 5th, and Max Vanderpool in 6th. And 54.19 was the slowest. That was a fast race right there.
That was. And now we have fast race to not the fastest race, just the longest.
We'll have some time to discuss some stuff coming
We can
up
do all
there.
sorts of things.
We can.
We can break down this race.
The 500 freestyle is coming up, junior varsity. Probably see about a 5.5 minute time win this race. Samuel Schmitz, a Johnston kid, swam a 5:32 so far this season. Starting at the bottom of your screen in lane 1, Matthew Carmody for Dowling will be swimming. Kyle Gobin for Johnston is in 2. Max Frost is in 3. Samuel Schmitz is in 4. John Klingen for Dowling is in 5. Drew Story is in 6. And Zach Rinke will be swimming in lane 7 for Dowling.
Only 2 heats of this. 1 JV, 1 varsity. This race will go around 5 minutes.
Now,
sometimes 6.
As you see them on the far end at the turn, you'll see some their teammates with cards, and their teammates will have lap cards, actually length cards. They're telling them how many lengths. A length is just one trip down to the end of the pool. A lap is down and back. So those cards will show how many laps they have done, and they were just a flash to number 1. I hope they could keep that one straight. But when you get into lap, 17, 19, it's hard to know just how far you've gone and how many more laps you have yet to do. So,
well, and I have heard swimmers talk about, well, how do they keep their focus? They count tiles on the floor. And that is something that some of those Olympic swimmers, since they're at it for so long, they will do over and over and over again.
That sounds pretty exciting. I've swum a bit. I did triathlons, and so I swam a lot in college. I did not swim on the swim team. I practiced with swim team, actually. Some of the guys were on my floor at UNI, but I never counted tiles. I don't remember ever counting tiles. Thinking about a lot of different things as you have your head in the water. You can't talk with anybody, but never have I counted tiles.
Samuel Schmitz touches first. And he is on his way down to the other end, John Klingon. Last race we had was the varsity race, was the 100 free. Dowling goes 1, 2, 3. Nolan Larson, Nick Chase, John Culver. Larson with a time of 48.73. Excuse me. Chase was second, 50.29. Culver close behind, about a second and 3/10 with a 51.54. And then Ryan Warwick, Jake Dielman, and Max Vanderpool go 4, 5, 6. So the Maroons take 13 points and the Dragons get 3. So that team score is going to look dramatically different in this middle section of the meet.
Yep. And we're nearing the halfway mark for lane 4. And 2:36. Kyle Gobin in lane 2 appears to be leading. 2:36, 2:39. So that's about a 5:40, 5:45, maybe 5:50 by the end of the race, depending on if they're tiring out or if they're saving some for the end. Kids get into a rhythm in this race. It's kind of a frantic first 50, and then once they push off for their second 50, they really get into a rhythm and hold that rhythm and just try and swim strong, swim long for the middle part of the race, and then the last couple of laps just really start to fight through the pain because the shoulders get tired.
They do.
Triceps get tired, and you just gut it out and pick it up, and you know the end is going to be coming up quick.
Coming up in the varsity race, it'll be Grant Nelson, Jackson Kastner, and Michael Schmitz for Johnston in lanes 2, 4, and 6, and the Maroons will counter with Cade Johnson, Carter Shimon, and Gage Agnew. The best time coming in comes to Jackson Kastner, 4:57.91. And the pool record is 4:43. So again, it's only December. We got a ways to go.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see a pool record. Lane 4 just turned for his last lap. You might have heard the horn. The leading swimmer on his last lap will get a horn or a bell. And everybody knows that somebody's in their last lap. It's hard for swimmers to keep track of where everybody is. They generally know where they are, although I've seen swimmers keep going, swim a 5:50.
And they'll still, after they're done, they have to go cool down.
Yep.
And they have to go swim almost as much as what they did in the pool. Why is the cool down so important?
So you're loose for your next race. You generally swim more than one race in a swim meet, and you want to stay loose and stay warm and not tighten up. Samuel Schmitz took that in 5:26.88, so he shaved about 6 seconds off his best time this year. Good time for him. Second place was Max Frost in lane 3 for Dowling, 5:38, and 5:46 took third, and that was John Klingon for Dowling. Fourth place down here in lane 1, Matthew Carmody in 5:46. Fifth place, Zach Rinke up in lane 7, 6:20.09. And sixth place was Drew Story, 6:21.15. And just finishing up here for Johnston was Kyle Gobin, who swam a 6:44.83. I would expect the varsity race everyone will be done by 5.5 minutes.
Yeah. The slowest time, at least registered, is 5:23, and that belongs to Grant Nelson. But if you look at Scott Lair has the best time for Johnston in this race, but he is not in the pool. Jackson Castor is. 4:57.91 is his best time. Gage Agnew has the best time for the Maroons at 5:24.97. He is in lane 7. The best in the state belongs to Jackson Allman at 4:51. Cameron Kelly, Scott Lair. So Lair has the third best time in the state. Again, only after one meet. It's very early, but it's just something to kind of look at.
And he's not swimming in this.
And he's not swimming in this race.
You know, we haven't had the chance to talk to the Johnston head coach, but I had two kids go to Valley, and they swam all 4 years, and I got to know the Valley coach, Sean DeBooth, very well. And he did not always swim these early races to win the meets. He swam with an eye on districts and state. And Coach Walling might be doing the same thing, mixing kids up, putting them in races they're not used to, and getting them ready for the January races.
Grant Nelson in 2, Cade Johnson in 3, Jackson Castor in 4, Carter Shimon in 5, Michael Schmitz in 6, Gage Agnew in 7, and we're underway here in the 500 freestyle. The 14th different race of the day, and our 7th varsity race. Early on, it's pretty even, but in lane 4, Jackson Castor of Johnston touches first, and second is Cade Johnson from Dowling. So it's going to be Castor and Johnson, 4 and 3, as they make the turn on that next length.
And
not a lap.
Cade Johnson swam the 500 at state, swam a 4:53. So this is right up his alley.
Castor and Johnson even as they make the turn and go back down the other way, Dave. Sorry. As the 5 is put in front of them by their teammates. Got to get them in so they can see it and pull it out before it gets kicked. And then the board guy gets splashed pretty good.
He does get splashed pretty good. They're all wearing their swimsuits, so it's pretty okay. Now Jackson Castor, I'm looking, and I was looking for him on the state list from last year. He's a freshman,
and he's swimming pretty good right now.
Swimming pretty darn good. And
he's in second place
and scoring for the Dragons. So we're going to see a lot of Jackson Castor as the next 4 years unfurl for that kid.
Cade Johnson still in the lead for the Maroons. Second place, Jackson Castor. The race really is for third between the swimmers at the top of your screen, Agnew, Schmitz, and Shimon. And
that's 2 Dowling kids and 1 Johnston kid. So that
Schmitz touches first for the Dragons. But again, off the lead in this long race. Now we're starting to see a little bit of space. Cade Johnson starting to pull away from Jackson Castor. He's ahead by a good almost 2 body lengths.
This will be a good race for Castor. As a freshman, going toe-to-toe with somebody who swam at the state meet and is one of the better swimmers, is just really, it's a good test and it's a good lesson, for somebody in their early years of this sport, just to, figure out how do they pace during a race like this. Do they go out hard? Do they go out easy? Do they go steady? Do they finish strong? And Castor will learn a lot swimming with Cade Johnson today.
Well, and Johnson continues to extend his lead He's now probably 4 body lengths ahead. So he's ahead by at least 2 seconds.
And he's coming to the turn. He'll have 150 yards to go. That's 3 more laps.
The number 15 is what he'll see when he gets into the east edge of the pool. Yeah, if you take pictures down there, Dave, you really can get wet.
I'm pretty careful.
They've told
I know
me
the rhythm.
They've told me covering swimming that you don't wear anything you don't want to get wet.
When I'm on deck, even in the midst of winter, I'll wear shorts and a pair of, they're not big now, but those Teva sandals. You remember those Velcro sandals we wore in 1985? I still have a pair of those. My daughter calls them my dad sandals. I'm full-on dad. That and a pair of wraparound sunglasses, and I'm set.
Kate Johnston pulling away, Dad, from everything as the horn sounds for Johnson. He's not quite going to lap anybody yet.
No.
Second is Caster.
4:26. He'll be somewhere in the 4:40s.
And then Carter Shimon is in third. And then on the far side, it's Agnew and Schmitz. Now touching in lane 2 is Grant Nelson. And here comes finishing. First is Cade Johnson from Dowling Catholic. In second place is Jackson Kastner. Coming down is Carter Shimon. He'll take third. The race is for fourth and fifth. And it looks like Agnew just outperforms Michael Schmitz.
1/10 of a second between those two touches.
And Johnson's time of 4:55 is a full 8 seconds better than second place.
And Jackson Kastner swam a 5:03.13. You can see all the kids lining up. And on camera, we had Haley Sherman with the Johnston Black and White newspaper, the school newspaper, for the first part of the meet. And we've got Grace Ballesteros on camera now, and she too is on staff. And we've also got, there's a couple of gentlemen who are on staff who are running around taking stills that you'll see on CISN.TV on our website and on the school newspaper.
And that's one thing, Dave, I got to give you a whole ton of credit. What you have brought to the website here in your year has been a lot more photos.
I like photos.
And that gives us just wonderful things. If you want to look on our website, look on our Facebook page. And it is not just football and basketball for you. It has been, you did a lot of races this summer. There were some menace pictures this summer. You are an active guy, as we are now going to do the 200 free relay. It's a JV heat.
Yep, and lane 1, Brian Spellman for Dowling. Lane 2, Alex Wheat for Johnston. Bradley Meyer for Dowling in 3. Noah Coleman in 4 for Johnston. Luke Mohan in 5. Luke Mullen for Johnston in 6, Zach Fry in 7, and Bryce Palmer in 8 for Johnston, leading off this 4x50 relay. I didn't see who took off first there, but swimming second, we'll just go from lane 1 on
Lane
up.
5, Dowling did.
Paul Johnson's in lane 1. Hunter DeJager in 2, Stefan Renzi in 3, Noah Mabel swimming in 4, Cole Wiley in 5, Joel Woodsmall in 6, John Klingen in 7, and Max Hodap in 8. And going off in the third leg, in lane 1, Joe Ryan, Jared Palmer in lane 2, Liam Sweeney in 3, Grayson Haggett in 4, Jacob McMillan in 5, Braden Hune in 6, Leo Duffy in 7, and Cameron DeRoos in lane 8.
quick recap of that last race that we just had. The official results have now come in. Kate Johnson 1, Jackson Castor 2nd, Carter Shimon 3rd, Gage Agnew 4th, Michael Schmitz 5th, Grant Nelson 6th. So Dowling goes 1, 3, 4.
They are scoring some points. And in this race, the anchor swimmers, Sam Hall in lane 1 for Dowling, Dawson Craig for Johnston in 2, Joe Prophet in 3, Noah James in 4, Matthew Carmody in 5, Kyle Gobin in 6, Will Melcher in 7, and Ogbi Erloden in 8. And it looks like Dowling takes that in lane 5 with the 143. Johnston in 2nd, 3rd. Lane 4 took 2nd, 147. And in lane 2, Johnston's team did a 149.16 for 3rd place.
The Maroons will be in 3, 5, and 7 in this race. Johnston 2, 4, and 6. Watch the middle as we do. Johnston in lane 4, Ryan Werrick, Josh Mullen, Max Vanderpool, and Scott Lair. For the Maroons in 5, it's Nolan Larson, Joseph Dorman, Drew Westerkamp, and Ryan Gallmer. In lane 3 for the Maroons, Cade Johnson, Ben Nelson, Michael Schulte, Carter Shimon are your swimmers for there. Johnson's lane 6, Ben Webster, Aaron Brown, Cole Phillips, Michael Schmitz. The Maroons in lane 7, Zach Robinson, Sam Coleman, Camden Arnold, Matthew Renzi. And lane 1 for the Dragons, it's Jack Gruning, Michael Fredrickson, Vasil Cheprevsov, and Trent Wignall.
Good job on his name.
Did I get it?
Yeah, pretty close. His father moved here from, it wasn't Czechoslovakia, but it was one of those small countries near there. And so he's a one-generation American, which is kind of cool. And I believe
and he doesn't have his name on his swim cap, at least on this right side. It might be on the left side, but that's a lot of letters.
It's a lot. It's a lot of letters for sure.
Not any more than Fredrickson would be. Dowling Catholic took the JV race in the 200 free with Luke Mohan, Cole Willey, Jacob McMillan, and Matthew Carmody. So we get ready for the varsity race.
I'm doing some math. I see my son on here, and I'm trying to figure out his time in that 50 free of that relay. It looks like somewhere around a 27-second, which is good for him.
And that's your youngest?
It's my youngest, yep. I've got a senior at Iowa State who is tipping off in Iowa City here. He is not, but the Iowa State Cyclones are tipping off here in about 13 minutes in Iowa City. But he's at Iowa State, aerospace engineering student, and he did space camp this summer. And it was a week-long camp to learn how to be an astronaut, which is crazy. I don't know where that came from. Wasn't me. But went skydiving, scuba diving, and an overnight camping trip on the river. Sounds like pretty intense astronaut training, I thought.
Better him than me.
Yep.
I would never make it out of the vomit comet.
You know what? He said never again. I was like, now that's not... If you're going to be an astronaut, son, you better like falling out of high places. Or maybe that's the whole idea. Maybe that's you stay put when you're in high places. Maybe that's his survival technique.
That could be. That could be. So that's not your oldest, though.
That's my oldest.
That's your
I have
oldest.
a daughter.
You have a daughter. That's right.
At Northern Iowa.
Your alma mater.
My alma mater. Yep.
Mine is just up the road in Waverly at Wartburg.
Yep, that's right. That's right. We were
we know that Northeast Iowa.
We do. It's a great place to walk around in the winter.
And then your youngest, yes. Today would have been cold.
For sure. All winter, I think. And the wind blows straight out of like Canada into Northeast Iowa.
See, in Waverly at Wartburg, we have skywalks. You don't have to go outside as often.
Yeah,
I've walked across that Northern Iowa campus. It is wide open everywhere.
No skywalks at UNI.
Just be
there was
thankful
one from the dorm to the dining center, which is good because you can do that in your PJs. But other than that, you're out in the elements.
The 200 free relay. What are our legs in the 200 free relay, Dave?
The 18 from Johnston is in lane 4. The 18 from Dowling is in lane 5.
Which, by the way, Johnson has a best time of 1:35, which is very close to Dowling's 1:35 time. The best in the state is Ames at 1:30. Linn-Mar, Valley, Fort Dodge, and Ankeny are your top 5 in the state. Lane 4, Johnston with Ryan Warwick. He'll start off. It'll be Grunin, Johnson, Warwick, Larson, Webster, and Robinson from bottom to top on your screen.
You know, there's been quite a lag between the junior varsity and varsity free relay. So, and I see the coaches huddled with the official. Both Johnston and Dowling coaches huddled with the official. So I'm not sure. Actually, yep, I am sure. Lane 7, it looks like, has a DQ. Not sure what that is, but you know, oftentimes they'll go a little bit early or improper stroke. Freestyle, you can swim anything you want, but the other strokes, you have to swim a good backstroke. You have to swim a good butterfly. A lot of kids will sneak a breaststroke kick into a butterfly, and that'll get them DQ'd.
And at a meet like this, there's only one official trying to watch all of that.
Yep.
Where at state, you would have one that would be assigned to each lane.
State is a tough meet to shoot because of all the officials, and they have precedence on the deck.
And coaches.
And there's a lot of coaches.
And really, that's why you'll shoot your photos on the turn side. You really have to kind of sneak in on the, and we have to, what I did with Iowa Public Television was we would put a couple of GoPros in at poles and turning poles. And we are now about ready to swim. We had to work through some of those official.
Yeah, it looks like the officials asking the timers or the scorekeepers up on the. There's 3 people on computers who are running results, and the officials making sure they are ready and that all their computers are working. Sometimes there's a disconnect between the pad, which is an electrical item sitting in water, and the computer, and so sometimes it'll short out, and they need to make sure everything's working. It looks like they're working on making sure they're all up and running.
Well, I'm looking at the leaderboard here at the pool, which is just on the top side of your screen. And there are a couple of 16s.
Oh, for sure.
Already for the boys.
Well, that was last.
Oh, that would be January, February. That's right, because it would be 17. So fewer layer in the 400 free. A couple of names we've talked about.
Yep.
I was looking at the girls' side. Lexi Horner and Lexi Winnett both have had good careers for the girls.
Victoria Trost is swimming at Missouri and having. I saw her at the Olympic trials this summer, where I did some photos for CISN.TV. And Victoria is having a good season down in Missouri for her inaugural freshman year. That's a lot of work. I'm telling you what, it's a long, when you go to college and you swim at college, it's a long season, and it's 20 to 25 hours of work during the week on top of your schoolwork, which you have to keep up as well. A lot of discipline to swim at college for sure.
So now we have a team in one, which is Dowling. And this is the team that was from lane 7, Fry, Zach Fry, John Klingon, Leo Duffy, and Will Melcher. Early on here, it's for Johnson, Jack Gruning, Kay Johnson, Ryan Warwick for Johnston. For the Maroons, Nolan Larson. In 5, Ben Webster and Zach Robinson. And first in is lane 5 and Dowling Catholic. Nolan Larson hands off to Joseph Dorman. Dorman was first into the water there for the Maroons. And we have
looks like one might be swimming exhibition, lane 1, because they're not being scored on the on the score table. 'Cause usually in a varsity race, there's only 6 lanes, and we've got 7 right now.
All the strokes in this one are the freestyle, and again, it was in lane 5, Dowling. Drew Westerkamp, he's swimming against Max Vanderpool from Johnston in 4. Michael Schulte for the Maroons in 3. Cole Phillips for Johnston in lane 6. And again, in first are the Maroons, Ryan Gaumer. Gaumer he is just ahead. He's ahead by a good 3 seconds in this race. He turns and on that far side finishes here in this final 25. Gaumer is just going to run away with it. The Maroons.
He looks good.
He does look good. Good stroke down. Scott Lair for the Dragons.
And he just swam a 23:09 split. Johnston, Scott Lair swam a 22:77 split. So he was closing in on him, but ran out of pool. But great race. Total time of 1:32:02 for the winning team. Johnston in second, 1:34.51. Dowling takes third up in lane 3, 1:35.97. And in lane 7, 1:36.01. And
so we now are at our second intermission.
We are at our second intermission. And we're going to talk to Coach Allison Jones, Johnston coach. Again, she's new this year, and thought we would take this opportunity to get to know her and what brought her to the Johnston swim team.
We'll have results when we come back. You're watching CISN TV on the web. We'll have the final results as well as team totals when we come back. Dave Mabel and Paul Yeager here on CISN TV.
Seal, it's about trust. Whether I'm buying a car, hiring a contractor, finding a tax preparer, or an honest mechanic, the Better Business Bureau seal means this business meets high standards. When I see the seal, I know I'll get what I pay for. No more taking chances and no more worries. And I feel good about supporting local businesses. My life is so much easier knowing I can always trust BBB accredited businesses. It pays to look for the seal. See for yourself at bbb.org/Iowa.
At MidAmerican Energy, part of putting power in your hands is helping to keep families safe. That's why MidAmerican provides free educational safety programs to schools, asks you to call 811 before you dig, have annual furnace inspections, and be aware of hazards at home. MidAmerican Energy safely delivers electricity and natural gas to us in good times and stormy ones. That's MidAmerican Energy.
Tonight, Central Iowa Sports Network presents High School Swimming, live from Summit Middle School in Johnston.
And we are back at Summit Middle School in Johnston, and we will be chatting with Allison Jones shortly here. It's Dave Mabel with Central Iowa Sports Network, CISN .TV, and quick results. I don't have the team scores yet, but Dowling Catholic took that last race, 143. Oh, that's junior varsity. 143. Johnston took second, 147, and Johnston took third in 149. So as soon as we get the results of the varsity race, we'll have those for you. So we're here with Allison Jones. Welcome.
Thank you.
And welcome to the Johnston swim program. Allison is new to the program this year, and what brings you here?
Well, swimming has always been like my passion. That's what I love, and I haven't really been around swimming since I moved down to the Des Moines area for the past few years, and so I heard about the opening, and I just thought it'd be a great time to get back into the swimming.
Perfect. And you teach at Urbandale. You were at the high school at first.
Yep.
And now you're teaching phys ed at the elementary.
Yep.
Very cool. And how many years have you been at Urbandale?
This is my 3rd year in the district.
And I notice a little bit of an accent, maybe from up north somewhere, eh?
Yeah.
Where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Mankato, Minnesota.
Very cool. They have a bit of snow right now, I believe.
Probably.
Yeah, I think, I saw blizzard warnings up north recently. But where'd you go to college?
I went to Wartburg in Waverly.
Paul Yeager's alma mater, who is calling the meet this evening.
Oh, yeah.
So you and Paul have something in common. And I went to UNI just down the street from Wartburg, so northeast Iowa. I guess you're used to the cold weather.
I am. I'm really excited for it to start snowing and getting a little bit more, not windy, but cold.
Yeah, I kind of am too. I like snow, but I don't know about the wind and the cold. So coaching, you are new this year with the Johnston squad, and Johnston, you teach at Urbandale. Johnston has Urbandale, Dallas Center Grimes,
and
Des Moines Christian,
as
well as Johnston kids on the team. And what led you to want to coach swimming?
That was my main sport in high school.
You were a swimmer?
Yep, I was a swimmer in high school. And
what was your stroke?
It was breaststroke. Breaststroke is the best stroke, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Breaststrokers always say that. And you swam at Mankato.
Yep.
One of the schools there?
One of the schools there, yep.
Which one? What's your...
Mankato West.
Mankato West. The Mankato West what?
Scarlets.
The Scarlets of Mankato West.
Yeah.
And you went to Wartburg, and Wartburg does not have a swim program, so
nope.
You didn't swim in college.
Right.
So what do you bring into the swim program? Where are you coaching? How are you helping out? How are you fitting in?
I'm mostly working with the JV swimmers, working on a lot of their just basic technique and getting their strokes down, getting them there. We have a few swimmers who are a little bit less comfortable, I would say, in the water, and so working towards getting them more comfortable, able to swim the longer distances and all the strokes and everything like that. And
all the strokes legally,
yes, and refining all of the upper junior varsity swimmers so that
Well, it is so much stroke. Technique matters in swimming for sure,
yes.
Big time. You can have somebody really strong. I saw this in triathlon a lot. Somebody who's really strong and just flounders in the water because they don't know the stroke. And
we have a couple of really strong swimmers who
could use help with their technique.
Don't get as much out of their stroke as they could.
Well said. And I know there's a handful of swimmers every year, it seems like, who join the swim team and who really haven't swum before.
Yeah.
And so your job is to teach them how to swim?
That's a part of it, yeah.
Well, I think that's admirable. I think that's a pretty cool thing about swim team, that it's pretty open to all. I know my kids went to Valley, and it's tradition for the cross-country kids their senior year to go out for swimming for the first time. So every year the staff there has a new group of kids who've never swum before, and they're on the swim team, and builds character, and the swim team always seems to be pretty strongly united.
The swimmers are always genuinely good kids, and they are very accepting and helpful of each other. They watch each other, they critique each other, they want each other to do well, and so that's probably the coolest part about swimming, is just like the environment and the amount of caring and effort that the kids put forth and towards each other and everything.
Yeah, well, it's been a good program for my son. I know for all my kids who swam all 4 years of their high school. My son who's going to school at ISU, who just tipped off against Iowa here 4 minutes ago. Not that we're keeping track, but I do have my Iowa State shirt on. But he swam water polo at Iowa State. he wasn't strong enough to swim, and a lot of schools don't have a men's program, but he took his swimming to Iowa State in the form of water polo, and that was a lot of fun for him. Well, Allison Jones, thank you for joining us here today. Welcome to the Johnston swim team. We're going to be right back with more swimming. We've got 3 events left, backstroke, and then your favorite.
Breaststroke.
Breaststroke is best. And then climactic end of the evening with the 400 free relay.
Yep.
Allison, thanks for joining us, and we'll be right back on CISN.TV.
Why do I look for the seal? It's about trust. Whether I'm buying a car, hiring a contractor, finding a tax preparer, or an honest mechanic, the Better Business Bureau's seal means this business meets high standards. When I see the seal, I know I'll get what I pay for. No more taking chances and no more worries. And I feel good about supporting local businesses. My life is so much easier knowing I can always trust BBB accredited businesses. It pays to look for the seal. See for yourself at bbb.org/Iowa.
And we are back at poolside at Johnston Middle School, and looking at the 100-yard backstroke. These kids will actually start out in the water, and we're here with Paul Yeager, the Central Iowa Sports Network, and Haley Sherman is back on camera for us, so we welcome Haley.
We get started here now with the 100 backstroke. This is a JV race, and then we'll have the varsity race. Just one heat of the JV.
And in lane 1 is Bradley Meyer for Dowling, Hunter Dieger in 2, Gage Agnew in 3, Cole Phillips in 4, Cole Wiley in 5, Jared Palmer in 6, Zach Rinkle in 7, and Adam Potabom in lane 8 for the 100-yard backstroke. And it looks like lane 7
might have the lead.
3, 4, 7 are all pretty tight. Looks like 4. Looks like Gage Agnew in 3 touched first, followed by Cole Phillips, and then up in lane 7, Zach Rinkle right behind. It's very close race.
Well, in that middle set of races, Dowling really kind of pulled away on the team scores. On the varsity side, Johnston has 40 points, and Dowling Catholic has 84. So the Maroons running away with this one. On the JV side, it's still the Maroons leading Johnston 82-42. As we finish off here and get ready for the varsity race coming up.
Looks like Cole Phillips took that one in 103.68, followed by Zach Rinkle in lane 7, 104.07.
The last varsity race that we had was the 200-yard freestyle relay. Dowling took that with Nolan Larson, Joe Dorman, Drew Westerkamp, and Ryan Gaumer. Johnston's Ryan Warwick, Josh Mullen, Max Vanderpool, and Scott Lair were second and took 4 points for the Dragons. As we get you ready now for the 100 backstroke varsity, it'll be Ryan Warwick from Johnston in 2, Nick Chase in 3, Grant Lair in 4, Tom Nesbitt of the Maroons is in 5, Vasil Cheprov. Oh, I did much better on the first time with his name.
You did.
And then Sam Coleman is in 7. We'll be watching in the middle.
Grant Lair
in 4 for Johnston, Tom Nesbitt for Dowling in 5, and Nick Chase for Dowling in 3. The backstroke will go down and back in this one. Pretty good start there, got to say, out of lane 4. And Grant Lair.
Yep, sure looks like he's got a little bit of lead already. 25 yards into this race. And lane 3 looks like he's on his hip. So he's got a half a body length on Nick Chase.
Nick Chase of the Maroons is in 3. And then it's out of lane 6. It's Vasil
Chaprazov. Let's go with that.
Chaprazov.
And
it looks like it's going to be Grant Lair. Grant Lair starts to pull away.
And Nick Chase, touches right behind him.
And I think it's going to be Chaprazov in lane 7.
So Johnston hits first with the 54.68. Grant Lair, Dowling in 55.68. 1 second behind. That's Nick Chase and Vasil Chaprazov. Third, 101.3.
We'll move on to the 100 breaststroke. We'll have 2 JV heats and then a varsity. And then it's the 400 freestyle relay. And we've only got 2 heats in that one, a JV and a varsity. So coming down to the final portion of the meet, it's going to take basically a sweep in every race for Johnston to win this, but it's not, as we've said, Dave, all about winning in December.
It is not all about winning, and it would really appear that Coach Walling, Johnston is, if you look at the power rankings so far this season, is ranked second behind Ames, and Dowling's down in 10th currently this year. So
I don't think that'll stay that way.
Well, I don't think it'll stay that way, but also I don't think Coach Walling scheduled.
She knows what she's doing.
She does know what she's doing,
Yeah.
but I think she's scheduled looking further ahead. Yeah, it's an interesting season, the boys' swim season, because it's cut in half with winter break, and kids go on family vacation to go see grandma, to through the woods and down the trail to see grandmother and whatever. So there are practices, but a lot of kids will miss part of that mid-winter break, and it just makes the boys' season a little more interesting. It's not one continuous flow like a cross-country or track or football season.
Well, but it's a lot like what wrestling and basketball have. They have that break in the middle, but there are no meets over the Christmas break, just like there are no basketball games, at least in Iowa.
Nope.
In other states, they do play over that winter break, because it does get long when you don't have a game. They might play on the 27th, 28th, something like that, as Joe Proft finishes first for the Maroons. Tom Bussey for the Maroons is second. Nate Green third, so Dowling goes 1, 2, 3 in this one. And the Maroons, they had a practice this morning.
Wow.
And here they are competing pretty hard tonight.
Well, again, Nick Spike is looking ahead to January, late January. I believe January 21st is the conference meet. I know Johnston and Dowling will meet each other again there in Fort Dodge. District meets are held on February 4th, and that really, it doesn't matter what you swam any other meet this season. It matters what you swim at districts, whether you go to state or not. So the state meet's on the 11th of February.
Be at the Marshalltown YMCA, great facility to have.
And raucous.
Yes.
It is it's one of the loudest environments I've ever been in.
And it sounds like there's a lot of, the coaches. We can kind of see some of the coaches on the far side of this one, but you have all the state coaches, and they are all yelling, and they go back and forth.
Yep.
And that's on the far side, and then on the near side would be the officials as they make their ways up and down.
And both sides of the grandstands filled to capacity.
They camp out before the meet to be
amazing.
ready.
So we've got heat 2 of 2 for the JV breaststroke. Lane 1 is Will Odie for Dowling. Lane 2 is Braden Hune, Johnston. Jacob McMillan is in 3. Noah Coleman is in 4. Camden Arnold is in 5. Kyle Gobin in 6. And Donovan Kloberod is in 7. Dowling swimmer.
Coming up in the backstroke, Grant Lair has the best time, but Scott Lair is the one swimming for the Dragons. He'll be in lane 4. Sam Coleman has the best time for the Maroons, and he is not swimming in this race. In the 100, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the backstroke. I need to do breaststroke, sorry. Scott Lair has the best time. He is swimming in lane 4. Jerry Zhu for the Maroons, he has the best time for Dowling, and he will swim in lane 3. The best time in the state is held by Dalton Littlebridge with a time of 58.48, which is far and away better than swimmers that we'll probably see here today.
Yep. So the second heat of JV was won by Camden Arnold in lane 5 in a 107.27. Lane 3 took second. That's a Dowling swimmer, Jacob McMillan, in 110. And third place, Will Odie in lane 1 for Dowling, 113.13.
Lane assignments for the 100-yard breaststroke. This is the varsity race. In lane 2, Mason Rubin for the Johnston Dragons. Jerry Zhu for the Maroons in 3. Scott Lair in 4. Ben Nelson in 5. Ethan Paul in 6. Luke Mohan for the Maroons. So it's Zhu, Nelson, and Mohan for Dowling in 3, 5, and 7. We'll watch Scott Lair here in 4. He has the different colored Speedo, and he gets a pretty good start, very even start there. He comes out almost a half length of the pool before he comes out of water in the breaststroke, and that is one of those, you got to get a good start to preserve yourself a little bit in this taxing race.
You know, there's a lot of time spent underwater in these races. I was watching the national short pool. This is considered a short pool national championships last weekend. Some of the swimmers for the breaststroke and freestyle literally swam halfway down the pool before coming out of the water.
Jerry Zhu leads this race after the first lap, and in second would be Scott Lair. Zhu touches first and now makes his way towards the back stretch, the home stretch. And it's going to be right there in the middle in lane 3, Jerry Zhu, Scott Lair in 4. It's a close one, Zhu and Lair. Lair starts to pull away. Zara makes it even. Can Lair finish? It's all about the reach, and I think it's going to be Lair. Scott Lair.
And on the board, Scott Lair, 103.34, and Jerry Zhu, 103.5. So 16/100ths of a second.
And that was a race Zhu led for the majority of that race, but Lair had a great final kick.
And way up at the top of your screen in lane 7, Luke Mohan for Dowling swam a 106.66 to take third, followed by Ethan Paul in lane 6 for Johnston, 107.78. And Ben Nelson for Dowling in lane 5, 108.96 was 5th, and
that was
Mason Rubin in 6th.
Probably the best race we've had of the day. Closest one down to the end other than the 50 free, but that's always just super close.
50 free is nothing but close.
Yeah.
And we've got 400 freestyle relay junior varsity in lane 2 for Johnston. My own Noah Mabel leading off. Will Melcher for Dowling in 3. James Hansen for Johnston in 4. Matthew Renz for Dowling in 5. Bryce Palmer in 6. John Klingen in 7. And Zach Wrinkle in 8. Leading off 100 yards each times 4.
Final results from the 100 breaststroke for the varsity. Scott Lair with a time of 103.34 from Johnston is first. Jerry Zhu of Dowling Catholic, 103.50. So 16/100ths of a second separate first and second. Luke Mohan was third, 106.66. Paul Ethan from Johnston was fourth, the time of 107.78, just a little slower than what he came into that race with. Ben Nelson from Dowling fifth. Mason Rubin from Johnston is sixth at a time of 109.85.
Looks like Dowling is leading this race in lane 5 by quite a bit as their second swimmer turns the halfway mark. Boy, he's about to lap somebody already in lane 6.
Coming up in the 400 free relay for varsity, we'll have Johnston in lane 2 with a team of Jack Gruning, Trent Wignall, Josh Mullen, and Ryan Warwick. In lane 2, or lane 3 for Dowling, it'll be Hank Warish, Tom Nesbitt, Ben Nelson, and Carter Shimon. Johnston's in 4 with Jackson Castor, Michael Schmitz, Jake Dielman, and Grant Lair. The Maroons will have Nolan Larson, John Culver, Drew Westerkamp, Nick Chase in lane 5. Vasil Cheperzov, Samuel Schmitz, Will Ryer, and Ethan Paul for the Dragons in lane 6. And in 7 will be Joseph Dorman, Sam Coleman, Cade Johnson, Ryan Gallmer. So that'll be a good one to watch there. Lane 7 for the Maroons. We'll have to watch them. They'll be on the far side of the pool, Dave, but we'll do our best to keep track of that one. How's this one going for you so far? A little better with a partner? Were you doing this solo last time?
I did it solo last time. There was a little bit of dead air as I was either distracted or just couldn't think of anything to say at times. And I'm sure they appreciated. I'm sure our listeners appreciated that. But yeah, no, it's great to have you here, Paul. It's a great experience, and it's just fun to be able to bring a new sport to CISN.TV, which started out streaming football games, Dowling and Valley to begin with.
Then basketball, we're going to have some wrestling. I'm not sure who's going to do. I think Keith Bornas will be our analyst.
Yep, he's planning to do some meets. I want to say next week, but I'm not sure. I know next week we've got a basketball game on Tuesday and another on Friday. Tomorrow night we'll be at Waukee for the Waukee Valley game, which games for women's and men's, starting at women tip-off at 6:15, and the men around 7:45 or so. Let's see, lane 5, team of Matthew Renz, Gage Agnew, Max Frost, and Michael Schulte took that race for Dowling, and looks like lane 7 for Dowling. John Klingen, Thomas Bussey, Michael Ode, and Stefan Renzi took second, and in third was a Dowling team of Will Melcher, Leo Duffy, Luke Mohan, and Zach Robinson took third. So Dowling swept that. That's going to be
a lot of points on the JV side there.
Points on the JV side. We missed the names of the kids swimming that race. So for Johnston, lane 2, they finished 5th, and that was Noah Mabel, Michael Fredrickson, Luke Mullen, and Hunter DeJager. Lane 4 for Johnston finished 6th. That was James Hansen, Drew Story, Joe Hoffman, and Mason Wooman. And lane 6, Bryce Palmer, Ogbi Erloden, Cameron DeRoos, and Adam Potabom. And lane 8 was a Dowling team of Zach Rinkle, Donovan Schlobrad, Jerry Zhu, and Matthew Carmody. And that was the team that finished 4th. So we've got the final race of the evening, 400-yard freestyle relay varsity. The official's pointing at something in the water. Looks like
something in lane 2.
And the hero of the day is going to be my son, Noah, who's swimming down to the bottom of the deep end to pick up a the cover for the handrail. So the little white grip.
The grip. Thank you. Johnston in lane 2. The Maroons in 3. Dragons in 4 and 6. And Dowling will be in 5 and in 7. So the best time in the state is Iowa City High. Then Johnston has a second best time, as Dowling Catholic won that JV with Matthew Renzi, Gage Agnew, Max Frost, and Michael Schultz.
Johnston actually set a pool record last year in this event with Grant Fuhr, Grant Lair, Ben Kramer, and Stephen Fiolek. Kramer and Fiolek were seniors, but
Hank Warish off to a good start in 3. Sorry, Dave, continue.
So Johnston's got a bit of a history here, and they were third in the state meet last year. Of course, losing Fiolik was a big shoes to fill, but we'll see what they do here tonight.
Hank Warish off to a good start. Continues for the Maroons in lane 3 on the near side. He's already starting to put some distance between he and all the other swimmers. Going in next for the Maroons will be Tom Nesbitt. And Nesbitt is away. And it could have been just as easy here in 2 at Johnston with Trent Wignall getting into the pool. On that top side, it's Joe Dorman, then Sam Coleman for the Maroons in lane 2. In fact, Coleman in lane 2 starting to make a run for second as Tom Nesbitt touches, and he's got 50 left to swim. 50 down, 50 to go. Nesbitt, and in second place is lane 7. That's Sam Coleman swimming for the Maroons. Here on the near side, it's Johnston's team with Trent Wignall in lane 2. In fact, we might actually have a lead change. I think it is. Up in lane 7, Sam Coleman and Trent Wignall, Sam Coleman and Tom Nesbitt were even. And so it is a Dowling race.
It just shows this, nothing's guaranteed. A lead can come and go.
Cade Johnson for the Maroons is in lane 7. In lane 3, touching at almost the same time, is Ben Nelson. Top side of your screen as we look at the final 25 of this third leg. Cade Johnson for Dowling, Drew Westerkamp for Dowling in 5, and Ben Nelson in 3. Really, it is Johnson and Nelson. And getting in lane 7 first is Ryan Gomer. I told you, watch this team.
Yep.
And they are proving it, but we'll also see now it is a 3-team Dowling race because
Dowling
now
is running away with it.
in lane 5, Nick Chase makes incredible distance. This is going to be competitive to find the 4 best swimmers in this race. Leading now is Ryan Gomer. He's actually starting to put some distance between
a lot of distance
and his swimmer, his teammate, Carter Shimon in lane 3.
And in lane 5, Nick Chase is trying to hang with Shimon.
Up top.
He might have even passed. It might be lane 5 ahead a little bit. It looks like it.
Ryan Gomer touches
7.
first. It's lane 7, then 5, then 3. So Nick Chase, then Ryan Gomer.
It actually went lane 7, lane 3, then lane 5.
Okay, so 7.
So 3 touched first. That was
Joe Dorman, Sam Coleman, Cade Johnson, Ryan Gomer. Then you said 3.
lane 3, yep.
So that is Hank Wersch, Tom Nesbitt, Ben Nelson, and Carter Shimon. And then for Dowling in lane 5, taking 3rd place, Nolan Larson, John Culver, Drew Westerkamp, and Nick Chase.
Yeah, that was a great race.
That was a
was
really
fun
good
to watch.
race.
I know it was all Dowling, but the lead changes between swimmers, one swimmer to the next can.
Well, it started out
quickly.
It was Dowling's Hank Wersch and Tom Nesbitt. So you look at maybe Hank Wersch is going to be a guy that can swim in that. You're going to try to find the best 4 that can score you the most points. Gomer's had a really good meet. A lot of these guys, as they try to figure out, Dave, where they're going to fit. It is early, but you got to have something to go to, and that's what we're doing right now.
Yep, we will. We'll stay on until we get the final score. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a Dowling run, both JV and varsity. But a good race nonetheless.
Just real quick, is this the final from that one? And then the team scores. Here we go real fast for you, Dave. As I sit back down, I'll tell you what, this is kind of fun here at swimming. Everything's really close.
It is really
400 free relay for varsity. It was Dowling Catholic's team of Joe Dorman, Nick Chase, Cade Johnson, Ryan Gomer. Final time of 3:28:09, and I can't quite do splits there on the fly like that. Dowling's Larson, Nesbitt, Nelson, Shimon, Wersch, Culver, Westerkamp, Coleman, Johnston's Castor, Schmitz, Dielman, and Lair were your best team. Then the Gruning, Wignall, Mullen, Warwick, and Cheperzov, Schmitz, Ryler, and Ethan Paul for Johnston. So it really was all Johnston looking up at Dowling in this second and third periods today, Dave. JV-wise, it was Johnston with 55 points, Dowling Catholic 115. In fact, the JV outscored the varsity. Johnston 59 points, Dowling Catholic 111. So Dowling wins this meet 111-59.
Yeah, we'll be interested to see what happens in the power rankings. And, again, really nothing matters until the end of January.
That's right.
It's all about conditioning, practice. Obviously, the kids want to swim PRs, but they may not be swimming their main event tonight. But still, no matter what, they've all swum pretty much every event to this point in their life. Maybe some of the freshmen or some of the kids who joined for the first time this year, they'll be testing out events. But really, it's about getting PRs, regardless of what my son swims. I know he'll come home with a big smile if he's swum a PR in anything. It doesn't matter what.
That's right, and they're working hard at it.
Yep.
And give them something to shoot for. And you might find a race that, this didn't quite work for me, but I like this one a lot better, and that's what you're kind of trying to sort out at this point, Dave.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, so that's going to do it for this swim meet. Glad some of you were watching on the CISN app, which can be found right there. As Dave is showing you. Tomorrow night it's basketball, next week wrestling, and more basketball is next week's the week before Christmas break already.
It is unbelievable. We've got, what's today, the 8th? So we've got 2 weeks till Christmas or so, a little over 2 weeks, 2 weeks till Christmas break. And then we've got a big break. I know Johnston hosts a big invitational here January 7th. It'll be one of the first big meets of the year. Dowling is headed into Linmar on this January 7th for a big invitational, so that'll be a good kind of January test to see how December has gone, how the kids have done over break, and then look ahead to conference meet on the 21st and districts on February 4th.
It's coming quick.
It is coming
quick. Be here before you know it.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you, Dave Mabel.
And Paul Yeager, I appreciate you joining us here tonight at Johnston Middle School, and
we'll see you next time.
We'll sign it out. We'll see you next time. Again, basketball tomorrow night.
Dowling wins 111-59 over Johnston. Good night from Summit Middle School in the Johnston Pool.
Tonight, Central Iowa Sports Network presents High School Swimming, live from Summit Middle School in Johnston.